You've been planning your transformation longer than it would take to complete it. You've spent more time thinking about changing your life than it would take to actually change your life. You've invested more energy in preparing for success than it would require to achieve success. You've researched transformation more thoroughly than most people research their doctoral dissertations. You know more about success principles than most successful people. You've read more books about achievement than most achievers. You've attended more seminars about breakthrough than most people who have had breakthroughs. But knowledge without action is just sophisticated procrastination. Preparation without execution is just elaborate avoidance. Planning without implementation is just organized paralysis. You've become a professional student of success instead of a practitioner of success. You've mastered the theory of transformation while avoiding the practice of transformation. You've earned a PhD in excuse making while failing kindergarten in action taking. Stop studying change and start creating change. Give yourself 60 days to do what you've been planning to do for 60 months. Right now, while you're sitting here, someone just like you is making a decision that will completely transform their life in the next 60 days. While you're thinking about changing someday, they're changing today. While you're planning to start next year, they're starting this week. While you're waiting for the perfect moment, they're creating the perfect moment. The difference between you and them is not talent, education, or opportunity. The difference is that they understand something you don't understand yet. They understand that transformation doesn't take years. Transformation takes 60 days. Most people live their entire lives believing that real change is a slow process. They think meaningful transformation requires years of gradual improvement. They convince themselves that lasting change must happen slowly, carefully, methodically. But this is the greatest lie ever told about personal transformation. This lie has kept millions of people trapped in lives they hate, waiting for change that never comes, hoping for breakthroughs that never happen. The truth is this: everything you want to change about your life can be changed in 60 days. Every habit you want to break can be broken in 60 days. Every goal you want to achieve can be started and often completed in 60 days. Every relationship you want to improve can be transformed in 60 days. Every skill you want to develop can be launched in 60 days. 60 days is not a limitation. 60 days is liberation. But here's what most people do instead. They set goals for the year. They make plans for the next 5 years. They create vision boards for their future. They attend seminars about long-term success. They read books about gradual improvement. They convince themselves that slow and steady wins the race. But while they're moving slowly and steadily toward their goals, life is moving quickly and dramatically away from their dreams. The procrastination trap works like this. You tell yourself you need more time to prepare. You convince yourself you need more information before you start. You believe you need better conditions before you begin. You think you need more resources before you take action. So you wait, you research, you plan, you prepare. And while you're preparing for someday never comes. While you're getting ready to start, others are finishing. The procrastination trap is particularly dangerous because it feels responsible. It feels wise. It feels like you're being careful and thoughtful about your decisions. But procrastination disguised as preparation is still procrastination. Planning disguised as progress is still paralysis. Thinking disguised as action is still standing still. I want you to understand something about gradual change that might shock you. Gradual change is often no change at all. When you spread your efforts over years, you lose intensity. When you try to change slowly, you lose momentum. When you attempt gradual improvement, you lose urgency. The result is that you make tiny changes that get overwhelmed by your old patterns. You take one step forward and 2 steps back. You improve slightly and then slide back to where you started. But when you concentrate your change efforts into 60 days, something powerful happens. You create intensity that breaks through resistance. You generate momentum that overcomes obstacles. You build urgency that destroys excuses. You focus your energy so intensely on transformation that your old patterns don't have time to reassert themselves. You change so quickly that your mind doesn't have time to talk you out of it. The difference between people who transform their lives and people who don't is not the amount of time they have. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The difference is how they use those hours. People who transform quickly understand that concentrated effort beats distributed effort every time. They understand that 2 months of intense focus will accomplish more than 2 years of casual effort. Think about this. You probably spent more than 60 days thinking about changing your life. You've probably spent more than 60 days talking about your dreams. You've probably spent more than 60 days reading about success. You've probably spent more than 60 days planning your transformation. But have you ever spent 60 days actually transforming? The urgency principle states that short deadlines create massive action. When you give yourself 60 days to change everything, you eliminate the luxury of procrastination. You remove the option of taking your time. You destroy the possibility of putting things off until tomorrow. 60 days is long enough to create real change, but short enough to maintain urgency. 60 days is sufficient time to build new habits, but insufficient time to make excuses. Most people are living in someday syndrome. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll get in shape. Someday I'll learn that skill. Someday I'll fix that relationship. Someday I'll pursue that dream. But someday is not a day of the week. Someday is not a date on the calendar. Someday is not a real time. Someday is an excuse. Someday is a fantasy. Someday is a lie you tell yourself to avoid doing today what you know you should do. When you give yourself 60 days to change everything, you kill someday syndrome. You replace someday with today. You transform eventually into immediately. You turn your distant dreams into your current reality. 60 days forces you to stop planning and start doing. Stop thinking and start acting. Stop preparing and start performing. Your life is too valuable to waste years changing what could be changed in months. Your dreams are too important to delay while you get ready to get ready. Your transformation is too urgent to postpone while you wait for perfect conditions. When you concentrate your efforts into 60 days instead of spreading them over 60 months, you create what I call the compound effect of concentrated effort. This is not the same as compound interest that takes years to build. This is compound momentum that builds within weeks. Every focus action you take creates energy for the next action. Every small win generates confidence for bigger wins. Every breakthrough makes the next breakthrough easier. This is why concentrated effort produces exponential results, while scattered effort produces minimal results. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus had failed at business 3 times in 5 years. He had tried to start a consulting company, an online store, and a local service business. Each time, he spent months researching, planning, and preparing. Each time, he created detailed business plans, studied market analysis, and attended networking events. Each time, he convinced himself he was building something sustainable, but each time, his businesses failed because he was doing everything slowly and nothing intensely. After his 3rd failure, Marcus was broke, discouraged, and ready to give up on entrepreneurship forever. His family thought he should get a regular job. His friends told him he wasn't cut out for business. His confidence was destroyed, and his dreams seemed impossible. But instead of quitting, Marcus decided to try something different. He decided to give himself exactly 60 days to either succeed in business or accept that he wasn't meant to be an entrepreneur. Marcus spent the first week of his 60 days analyzing why his previous businesses had failed. He realized that he had been trying to build perfect businesses instead of profitable businesses. He had been focusing on looking professional instead of making money. He had been spending more time planning than selling, more time preparing than producing, more time thinking than acting. In his second week, Marcus identified one simple service he could provide immediately, helping small business owners organize their financial records. He didn't need months of preparation. He didn't need expensive equipment. He didn't need a perfect business plan. He just needed to start helping people and charging for his help. By his third week, Marcus had his first paying client. By his fourth week, he had 3 clients. By his sixth week, he had referred more clients than he could handle alone. By the end of his 60 days, Marcus had built a profitable business that was generating more income than any of his previous attempts. The difference was not his strategy, his market, or his skills. The difference was his intensity. Marcus succeeded because he understood the focus factor. Focus means doing fewer things, but doing them with greater intensity. Most people try to change everything at once and end up changing nothing. They try to start a business while also getting in shape, while also improving their relationships, while also learning new skills. They divide their attention among so many goals that none of them receive enough energy to succeed. But when you focus intensely on one major change for 60 days, you direct all your mental energy, emotional energy, and physical energy toward that single transformation. You become unstoppable because you're not trying to stop in multiple directions. You become powerful because you're not spreading your power across multiple targets. You become successful because you're not dividing your success among multiple goals. This is why most people fail at change. They spread their transformation efforts over too much time and across too many areas. They try to improve gradually instead of dramatically. They attempt to change everything slowly instead of changing one thing quickly. They believe that sustainable change must be slow change, but the opposite is true. The fastest way to create sustainable change is to create dramatic change quickly. The intensity advantage means that high energy, short-term effort beats low energy, long-term effort every time. 2 months of intense, focused effort will create more transformation than 2 years of casual, unfocused effort. This is not just motivational theory, this is mathematical reality. When you concentrate your energy, you multiply your results. Mental momentum is what happens when you see rapid results from your concentrated efforts. Success breeds success. Achievement breeds confidence. Progress breeds motivation. When you start seeing dramatic changes in your life within the first few weeks of your 60-day transformation, your brain begins to believe that even bigger changes are possible. Your confidence increases exponentially, and increased confidence leads to increased action. The elimination strategy is crucial for concentrated effort. You must eliminate everything that doesn't support your 60-day transformation. This means saying no to social events that distract you from your goals. This means cutting out activities that waste your time and energy. This means removing people from your daily life who discourage your transformation efforts. Concentration requires elimination. Focus demands sacrifice. Intensity means saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. Your behavior creates your identity, and your identity creates your reality. Most people think they need to change their circumstances to change their life, but you need to change your identity to change your circumstances. Your current identity is nothing more than a collection of habits you've repeated so many times that you believe they define who you are. But habits can be changed in 60 days, which means your identity can be transformed in 60 days. Let me tell you about Janet. Janet was a single mother of 2 young children who had been stuck in victim mode for 3 years. Her ex-husband had left her with massive debt, no savings, and a part-time job that barely covered her rent. Every morning, Janet would wake up and immediately start thinking about everything that was wrong with her life. She would complain to her friends about her financial struggles. She would blame her ex-husband for her current situation. She would make excuses for why she couldn't improve her circumstances. Janet's identity was completely built around being a victim. She introduced herself by explaining her problems. She bonded with others by sharing her struggles. She got attention by describing her difficulties. Janet had become so comfortable with her victim identity that she was afraid to let it go, even though it was destroying her life one day. Janet's 8-year-old daughter asked her why she was always sad. That question shattered something inside Janet. She realized that she was not just modeling victim behavior for herself. She was teaching her children that life happens to you instead of teaching them that life is created by you. That night, Janet made a decision that would change everything. She gave herself exactly 60 days to transform her identity from victim to victor. Janet understood that identity change requires behavioral change. She couldn't think her way into a new identity. She had to act her way into a new identity. So Janet created what she called her Victor Protocol. Every morning, instead of waking up and thinking about her problems, she would wake up and write down 3 things she was grateful for. Instead of complaining about her circumstances, she would list 3 actions she could take to improve her situation during her lunch breaks. Instead of calling friends to vent about her struggles, Janet would call potential clients for her new freelance bookkeeping service. Instead of spending her evenings watching television and feeling sorry for herself, Janet would spend 1 hour learning new business skills online and another hour working on her side business. By week 3, something remarkable started happening. Janet noticed that she was standing differently. She was speaking with more confidence. She was making decisions more quickly. She was taking action instead of making excuses. Her children started commenting that Mommy seemed happier. Her friends started asking what had changed about her. By week 6, Janet's freelance bookkeeping business was generating enough income to cover her grocery bills. By week 8, she was earning enough to start paying down her debt. But the most dramatic change was not in her bank account. The most dramatic change was in her identity. Janet no longer saw herself as a victim of circumstances. She saw herself as a creator of possibilities. The 60-day identity experiment works because identity is not fixed. Identity is fluid. You are not stuck with the personality you currently have. You are not trapped by the character you've displayed in the past. You can choose to become someone different by choosing to act differently. When you act like the person you want to become for 60 consecutive days, you become that person. Your current identity was created by your past choices. Your future identity will be created by your current choices. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. Your surroundings are more powerful than your determination. The people you spend time with have more influence on your future than your personal motivation. This is why most people fail at transformation. They try to change themselves without changing their environment. They attempt to become different people while staying in the same places with the same people doing the same things. But you cannot become who you've never been while staying where you've always been. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert was a talented graphic designer who had been stuck at the same income level for 5 years. He lived in a small apartment in a neighborhood where most people complained about money instead of making money. His closest friends were other struggling artists who spent their evenings talking about how the system was rigged against creative people. His daily routine involved working from his cluttered home office, taking breaks to scroll through social media, and ending each day feeling frustrated about his lack of progress. Robert had tried to change many times before. He had read success books, attended online seminars, and set ambitious goals. But every attempt at transformation failed because he kept returning to the same environment that had created his current situation. He would get motivated for a few days, then his environment would pull him back to his old patterns. His negative friends would remind him why success was unlikely. His cluttered workspace would drain his creative energy. His poor neighborhood would reinforce his limiting beliefs about money after another failed attempt at growth. Robert made a radical decision. He gave himself 60 days to completely overhaul his environment and relationships. He understood that changing his external world was the key to changing his internal world. Robert started with the most difficult change first. He told his closest friends that he would be unavailable for their regular complaint sessions. He explained that he was focusing on building his business and could no longer participate in conversations about why success was impossible. Most of his friends were offended. They accused him of thinking he was better than them. They warned him that he was becoming arrogant. They predicted that he would fail and come back to them for support. But Robert held firm to his decision because he understood that people who discourage your dreams are people who have given up on their own dreams. In his second week, Robert moved out of his apartment and rented a small office space in the business district of the city. Being surrounded by other entrepreneurs and business professionals changed his mindset immediately. Instead of hearing complaints about money, he heard conversations about opportunities. Instead of seeing people who had given up on their goals, Robert also changed his daily environment completely. He started working from coffee shops frequented by successful professionals. He joined a co-working space where he could network with other ambitious individuals. He began attending business meetups where he met potential clients and collaborators. He replaced his social media scrolling time with listening to business podcasts and success audiobooks. By week 4, Robert's income had doubled. By week 6, he had more client requests than he could handle. By week 8, he was earning more money than he had ever earned in his life. But the most important change was not his income. The most important change was that Robert now lived in an environment that supported his success instead of sabotaging it. Your environment includes everything around you, the people you talk to, the places you go, the things you see, the conversations you hear, the energy you feel. The most dangerous moment in your 60-day transformation is not the beginning. The most dangerous moment is day 30. This is when the initial excitement has worn off, when the novelty has faded, when the reality of change starts to feel difficult. Day 30 is when most people quit. Day 30 is when your old identity fights hardest to reclaim control. Day 30 is when your environment tries to pull you back to who you used to be. But day 30 is also when you're closest to your breakthrough. Understanding breakthrough psychology is crucial for completing your 60-day transformation. Breakthrough feels impossible right before it becomes inevitable. The moment when you want to quit is often the moment right before everything changes. The day when transformation seems hardest is usually the day when transformation is about to happen. Most people quit during the struggle without realizing they were about to win during the victory. Think about a woman trying to break through a concrete wall with a sledgehammer. She swings the hammer 99 times and the wall shows no visible cracks. It looks exactly the same as when she started. Someone watching might say she's wasting her time, that the wall is too strong, that she should give up and try something else. But on the 100th swing, the wall suddenly crumbles. Did the 100th swing break the wall? No. All 99 previous swings were necessary to weaken the wall enough for the final swing to break through. Your breakthrough works the same way. Every day of effort during your first 30 days is weakening the resistance to change. Every new habit you practice is creating cracks in your old patterns. Every action you take toward your goals is preparing the way for your breakthrough. The changes might not be visible yet, but they are happening. The transformation might not be obvious yet, but it is occurring. This is why day 30 is so critical. Day 30 is when you're tired of swinging the hammer. Day 30 is when you can't see the cracks you're creating. Day 30 is when you start questioning whether your 60-day plan is working. Day 30 is when you need to understand that you're not behind schedule, you're right on schedule. Breakthrough is coming, but breakthrough requires that you push through the resistance instead of giving into it. Breakthrough demands that you increase your intensity when you feel like decreasing it. Breakthrough insists that you maintain your new habits when maintaining them feels impossible. This is not the time to slow down. This is the time to speed up. This is the time to reduce your efforts. This is the time to multiply your efforts. The compound return happens in month 2 of your transformation. Everything you invested in month 1 starts paying dividends in month 2. The habits you struggled to establish in week 2 become automatic in week 6. The relationships you work to build in week 3 become sources of support in week 7. The skills you practiced in week 4 become strengths in week 8. Month 2 is when you stop working for your transformation and your transformation starts working for you. Let me tell you about Maria, a woman who understood the power of pushing through the 30-day wall. Maria was 53 years old and had been overweight for most of her adult life. She had tried every diet, every exercise program, every weight loss system available. Each time, she would start with great enthusiasm and excellent results. Each time, she would lose motivation around day 30 and gradually return to her old eating and exercise pattern. When Maria started her 60-day transformation, she prepared differently. She expected day 30 to be difficult. She planned for the moment when she would want to quit. She created systems to carry her through the resistance period. Maria enlisted the help of a workout partner who would not let her skip exercise sessions. She prepared healthy meals in advance so she couldn't use convenience as an excuse to eat poorly. She scheduled daily check-ins with a supportive friend who would remind her of her goals when her motivation faded. Day 30 arrived exactly as Maria expected. She woke up feeling tired, discouraged, and ready to quit. Her workout partner called to confirm their morning exercise session, and Maria almost said she was sick. Her prepared, healthy breakfast looked boring compared to the donuts her co-workers brought to the office. Her evening walk felt like torture instead of pleasure. Everything about her transformation felt forced and unnatural. But Maria had prepared for this moment. Instead of trusting her feelings, she trusted her system. Instead of making decisions based on her emotions, she made decisions based on her commitments. Instead of asking herself whether she felt like continuing, she reminded herself that she had committed to 60 days regardless of how she felt. The breakthrough came on day 42. Maria woke up and realized that exercise had become automatic. She no longer had to force herself to work out. Her body actually wanted to move. Healthy eating had become natural. She no longer craved junk food. Taking care of herself had become her new identity. She was no longer trying to become a healthy person. She had become a healthy person. By day 60, Maria had lost 37 pounds, but more importantly, she had gained a completely new relationship with her body and her health. The physical transformation was obvious, but the mental transformation was revolutionary. Maria now saw herself as someone who took care of her health instead of someone who struggled with her weight. Building systems for sustained change means creating structures that maintain your transformation beyond 60 days. Your 60-day transformation is not the end goal. Your 60-day transformation is the foundation for lifelong change. The habits you build in 60 days become the systems that support your success for 60 years. The new normal is what happens when your transformation becomes your identity, when the changes you made in 60 days feel natural instead of forced, when the new habits require no willpower to maintain, when the person you became feels more authentic than the person you used to be. This is when you know your transformation is complete and permanent. Your 60-day transformation creates a ripple effect that impacts every area of your life. When you prove to yourself that you can change anything in 60 days, you develop confidence to change everything over time. When you demonstrate that transformation is possible, you inspire others to believe transformation is possible for them too. When you become living proof that 60 days can change everything, you become a catalyst for change in every life you touch right now. You have a choice to make. You can continue living the way you've been living, hoping that someday things will magically improve. You can keep making the same excuses, following the same patterns, getting the same results. Or you can give yourself 60 days to change everything. Your life is too valuable to waste years changing what could be changed in months. Your dreams are too important to delay while you wait for perfect conditions. Your transformation is too urgent to postpone while you prepare. Give yourself 60 days. Change everything. Start today.